Well, welcome to the Beer Temple. We are out back in the lovely beer garden. The ambiance is palpable right now. I'm here with Chase Healey, owner, head brewer. What's your title?
A lot of things. I do everything.
Okay, he does everything. I
don't do the art. That's my brother, but
well, you're getting ahead of things. Sorry. Prairie Artisan Ales. He does everything except the art at Prairie Artisan Ales. Chase, thank you. This is our second outdoor show, first live studio audience. So
yeah,
quote
this
unquote.
Is amazing.
Yeah, so they can't see you. So guys, say something. Hello.
Yeah.
So Chase was nice enough to stop by the store, and we've got some beers of his open, but I figured why not take the opportunity to talk to some people I know that I am very much a fanboy of your beers.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it. It's a kind of a small family-run place from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny, the first time I ever heard about you guys was, I looked back just the other day, January 13th, freezing cold here in Chicago. A guy from Oklahoma comes up, wants to know about the beer.
What's his name? I probably know him.
Yeah, you probably do know him. He knew you. And he said, well, I've got this beer from Oklahoma. We had a whole bunch of stuff already open, including Bell's Black Note.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, here's this bottle. It ended up being Noir. And he's like, well, I'm just going to open it right now. And I was thinking, great, now we have this Oklahoma beer.
Yeah.
It's going to suck. And it ended up being the best beer on the table, including Black Note. Yeah, wow. I mean, we all kind of agree. We were blown away by this Prairie thing. I don't know. Yeah, so then he said, well, Shelton's picking them up.
Yep.
Shelton Brothers, and then I immediately the next day was contacting Shelton Brothers, said, do you have Prairie, or River North, get Prairie in, these guys are awesome. Mm-hmm. And that's still the last time I've ever had that beer, but it seems like you guys hit the ground running, and
yep.
So could you tell me, now that's my story, but I want to hear, nobody cares about that, I want to hear your story.
The story of Prairie?
Yeah.
Wow.
Concise, yeah.
Yeah, so Prairie was this thought of just exactly a year ago, realizing that I was tired of working for other people, and kind of asked my brother if he'd jump on board and we'd start something. Luckily, all these beers we're currently going down to a brewery called Chalk. Great guys. They've given me a lot of space to do really what I want. Approached them about brewing beer, and they said, yeah, sure, we'll brew a couple batches. And now it's just kind of gotten out of hand. In the best possible way, obviously, but what we thought would just be a little fun project has kind of blossomed into this full-on, we got to get to work.
Right, this is actually a business now.
This is a real deal. So it just kind of has happened. There wasn't like a business plan or this grand idea beyond, I know my brother's a talented artist and I can make some pretty cool beers, so let's see if that works together, and it has.
So, yeah, so basically what I tell people in the store is that it's basically two people. The one brother does everything, the other guy does the label art. Mm-hmm. Is that somewhat accurate, or what role does your brother play?
Well, it is. I mean, he'll text me in the middle of the night. He works all night and just like with ideas and things, and I'll suggest what we do, but I kind of stay out of his world and he stays out of mine. And I just wait, and he'll have something ready, and I typically don't have to tell him no or change that idea. There was one thing he did that had like nipples on it, and
male or female?
Well, that's funny you ask. Female, but there's a male. There's a beer that we haven't released yet that he didn't want to draw. It's me, and he didn't want to draw nipples, so he put like a tank top on me.
Okay.
To avoid doing it.
Well, you've been shirtless on the labels before.
Yeah.
A couple, right? And the Prairie Legend, right?
That's the legend that we're talking about.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that's where you have a tank top on. Mm-hmm. And what's the deal with, so you guys are from Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
Does the catfish play into that at all? The catfish that's on your, it's your logo.
It's on catfish. The bottle cap now, and you know, we just figured that, if you could see that, where we are from in the part of the country, we wanted to kind of give people what they wanted to see. So we've kind of embraced some things that are oaky-esque and tried to incorporate them into our identity, just because people in Chicago or Boston or whatever like really want us to kind of be cowboys. And true or not, we've kind of tried to embrace some things. We're not trying to be East Coast, West Coast, whatever. We're trying to be us, so we need to embrace those kind of things to help. So
beer-wise, what is that? What is Oklahoma beer? Because no offense, but Oklahoma is a little bit of kind of beer flyover country in many people's mind. It's kind of East Coast, West Coast, then you've got kind of Wisconsin, Michigan.
Right.
But it's growing now to all. So what is Oklahoma
I think
beer?
Oklahoma is really a lot like a lot of kind of markets where beer's just really growing. The breweries that have opened in the past like 5 years, there's been like 7 or so that have opened, and with the idea and really taking the opportunity of being people's like kind of local hometown brewery for either Tulsa or Oklahoma City or whatever, and so they're able to really deliver on your classic styles, your wheat beers, your porters, your IPAs, and so we have that scene that's really strong. But what Oklahoma doesn't have or didn't have was really anyone really trying to push beyond that. I mean, these guys are making cool beers, don't get me wrong, and doing some cool stuff, but being more truly focused on being more experimental than just trying to more build stuff to gain excitement within kind of the local market. So we took that as, at least I did, as an opportunity to just try some stuff. I mean, the whole thing about Prairie was, let's just do it and see if it works. And even locally, we've been embraced pretty well. And
that's awesome.
We do sell a lot of beer in Oklahoma. So
it might be a nice segue now to open up at least one of the bottles.
All right.
We can do it traditionally for now, I'd say. Is there one that you think would be a good starting point? This is the standard here.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think you.
I mean, I think probably the ale.
Okay.
And you'll notice that the loop, we've caught a lot of shit for overturning our loops.
This is one of the first things I ever said to you, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who starts our conversation.
We fixed it. And this one you can do in 6. You can do this one in the right amount, but you just got to twist it from the back. 1, 2.
Oh.
Watch out.
There we are. Nice.
All right.
Yeah, here you go.
So this is this is the first beer we brewed, the Prairie Ale, and it's really more closer resembling to a traditional farmhouse ale in Belgium than some of our others, because a lot of our beers are kind of this farmhouse style with an Americanized hop kind of twist, where this one is all saws, Brettanomyces, and wine yeast. So
okay, so you do
it really, it really, cheers, kind of
nice lemony, kind of lemongrass note.
So
really dry.
Yeah, with this one we're just trying to make it as dry, tight, highly effervescent. Bothers me sometimes people think their saison is a little too overcarbonated, and it's like, well, it's kind of on purpose.
Yeah.
So
were there any saisons that, as you were brewing, were kind of inspirational to you? I don't know if it's a direct model, but something that inspired you.
It's got to be Saint Somewhere down in Tarpon Springs, Florida.
So an American brewer, okay.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, I always loved Saison DuPont, but the stuff that Bob Sylvester was doing down there and being able to get my hands on some of the bottles kind of really opened my eyes to this idea of being a small artisan brewer in America, where that's really seen more as a thing in Europe, and his beers and the complexity, the dryness, the things he was getting, and the reason his beers worked were kind of similar to why they work for us, being in this hotter climate where drier beers are more refreshing. Florida, Oklahoma, they both can just be hot as hell. So to me, his beers inspired me to really dive into the style. And Bob himself is just an amazing guy that even when I was still just kind of a home brewer trying to figure this stuff out, would give advice and explain the things and techniques he was doing to dial in the beers. So he played a huge role in beers exactly like this, and we've kind of diverged from that a little and done some other things, obviously, but the whole start was probably credit to him and the things he was doing.
Cool. So that's really interesting. So then I've noticed that a lot of your beers are dry, so that is something that it's almost like a house character for you. It's just pretty much bone dry. It's on the Saison side.
Right.
You've kind of got this whole other side to your brewery as well, which is like the big, massive stout.
Yep.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
This is what I just like drinking them.
Yeah.
So we just like,
let's make them.
Fuck it, we're just gonna make some big stouts too because we like to drink them. So
okay.
That's just it.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't really need to be anything more than that. So you said you kind of diverged from the standard. In what ways did you diverge, and is there a beer here that maybe would represent the divergence that you've done?
Oh wow, you know,
you may need to. We'll dump. Or finish it.
I'll be in trouble if I finish it.
Yeah. So dump it. So you were out late last night, I hear. Enjoying Chicago's finer establishments.
We were the best ones.
Okay.
I'd say America's probably the one that really
moving on from that.
Yeah. And what's cool is that this is where we enter into our new bottle format, the 500 milliliter. To me, it's a shareable size, but still small, and we can get it into further away markets and get it on the shelf at a friendly price for people that maybe are unfamiliar with our product but want to try it. But in the big format, they may be a little more intimidated, where this, you know, we can sell under $10 and people can get an opportunity to get into our beers without feeling like they've, you know, are nervous about spending a little more on a larger volume bottle.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, this is, at least right now, my favorite beer that you guys make.
Oh, me too. And it's a frustrating deal because the Nelson Sauvin hop is so hard to get that I'm hoping to maybe get a couple hundred more pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Sometime to brew a few more batches, but otherwise we'll just be begging for them when we can to get them because they're just impossible.
Yeah, so the Nelson Sauvin hop is kind of the highlight of this. So it's like a Saison base, again very dry, but then that massive like fruity, almost grape leaf note that you get from the Nelson.
It's all single hop with those, and dry hop to a level that like an IPA or almost even a double IPA would be dry hopped. So we do that knowing that the incredible dryness of the beer really sets this really hard like platform for those hops just to really explode off of. There isn't any crystal malts or anything in here that are going to cause the hops to fade. Crystal malts are the worst with hop beers because as they oxidize, they just take over the beer and just get a little sweet and really take away from the hoppiness, where this kind of dry approach means they just hang on for a long time. That's why hop, even 5-6 months after being bottled, still has a great hop presence, and that's because there aren't any darker malts to cloud it.
Just like base 2-row and Pils malt, is that basically what these are?
Yeah.
Okay. So like a very
we put adjuncts in every one of our beers, be it we like using table sugar a lot. A lot of people want to use fancy sugars. We just use Domino.
I mean, it's fermentable.
Sugar. So those and rice we use, other sugars as well, but a good rule for me with most of our farmhouse beers is 10% adjuncts.
Really?
Which people want to turn their nose up at adjuncts, but it's a part of, you know, Belgian brewing, and there's no reason to not do it. I think the worst is having a sweet Saison. That's a fail. So for us, we want to make sure we're dry, and that's the way we do it. Awesome.
So turning away, before I'm going to see if anybody else has questions, but before that, I wanted to ask about you know, the standard label, Prairie standard label, has that how to noodle.
Yeah.
Have you noodled? Do you noodle actively?
We don't. Again, it was really something we wanted to embrace to kind of celebrate the culture of the area we live in. That shit's crazy. Like,
yeah, that's what
I'm not about to go jam my hands into some muddy holes and hope to get bit by a fish. So we do. I know plenty of people that do it. We're around it. It happens, but you're not going to see me down there.
Yeah,
you're not.
I met you and your brother out in Maine, and I immediately was thinking, you somewhat, but your brother a little bit more. I just couldn't imagine that guy.
He's
Colin,
a skinny little,
awesome guy.
Skinny little hipster though.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine him noodling though.
Yeah.
I kind of hoped he did.
He likes. Don't get me wrong. We love to fish all the time, but we use a rod and reel.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Cool. Then I think if anyone else has any questions that I missed or anything they want to know.
Any questions from the audience? Yeah. Anything at all? One question at least.
Talk about some of the challenges of being a craft brewery in Oklahoma.
Challenges.
The question was, talk about some challenges of opening a brewery in Oklahoma.
Legal or
Yeah, that's a tough thing. So a lot of people had this idea of Oklahoma, 3-2 beer, all that kind of stuff. In Oklahoma, to sell beer at a grocery store or liquor store, it has to be 4% or lower. That's a challenge.
Photo bombing your buddy.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the end. Long time friend. If you want to sell strong beer, it has to go through a distributor to a liquor store and has to be sold warm. So that's a challenge that we embraced in doing these bottle conditioned beers, where sitting at room temperature in a lot of cases can benefit these beers, especially the ones that most of them are dosed with Brettanomyces, and I don't want to slow down that development. So for me, knowing that, I designed my beers around the fact that they were going to sit warm. Other than that, November 1st, we can start giving samples at our breweries. We just recently built a brewery on the west side of Tulsa, and so November 1st, we will be opening our doors to the general public, which
You have a
just
big
passed.
shindig or a big kind of...
Maybe. Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
You should.
But you can only serve them 12 ounces, so it'll be like, hey, come party with us, and then like once your one glass is done, you gotta go. Like,
Right.
Like we can't overserve you on that.
But then you have the guys coming back like, why,
Yeah,
hello, how
good
are
to
you?
see you, good sir. You know, we're hoping as brewers, we, you know, in Oklahoma, begin to organize and realize the things that need to change. And I personally like selling through a distributor. It's an aspect of our business that we don't have to worry about. We just tell them what we have, they pick it up and deliver it for us. We don't have to have a truck, we don't have to have a guy delivering stuff. So that part doesn't bother me. I want to be able to let people be in my brewery. I'd love to be able to sell beer to people, but we thought at least doing a little sampling wasn't asking too much, and maybe each year we can ask a little more and improve the laws. So there's challenges, but you know, we've just embraced them and you know, done the best we could.
The must be delivered warm is 1, fascinating, 2, bizarre, and 3, awesome. I mean, you're talking about local laws affecting beer. I mean, that's happened throughout brewing history,
Right.
and it's happening here again. All right, we have to deliver warm. Let's make beers that actually will benefit from this restriction. What some people would say would be a restriction.
And it
yeah.
sucks for you guys that are brewing IPAs in our state, and they, you know, they just hope they move quick enough that that's
Right.
not a thing, and luckily they do, but that part does kind of suck. So, but it'll change. Things are changing.
Any other questions?
How big is the barrel program that you have? Where would you like to see it? And what future products can the Chicago market look forward to?
Oh wow.
So the question was, how big is the barrel program? You know, where do you see it? Where do you want to see it going? And then a little bit more selfishly, where do you see our market? But I would say in general, you know, what do you see kind of
Well,
trickling out?
you know, as of lately, we've really just been trying to play keep up. As far as barrels are concerned, you know, we have 100 different types of barrels that are full of beer right now in the warehouse. In 2 weeks, we'll fill 96 bourbon barrels full of beer. Which is an insane amount. I mean, we're talking, it's a lot for me, like $10,000 in barrels that we're going to fill and just let sit there for a long time. But that's kind of part of the growth, is we need to, because brewing 1 or 2 batches and you know, just letting that disappear just isn't going to cut it anymore. So you know, we're stepping up, but we just got 2 larger ovals, 1,200 liter big ovals for aging some of our saisons in, and I've got 10 more punch-ins that are 170 gallons coming from Portugal that will be doing
They
our
have
beers.
port in them?
No, just one.
Okay.
But so for us, everything in our small brewery we built will be 100% oak aged, and that may mean only 6 weeks in the barrels to inoculate and to fall bright, and then we'll package from there. But we needed a tremendous amount of wood to do that, and so by the end of this year, I bet we're close to 500 barrels.
Wow.
Which, yeah. by the middle of next year. Let's say that.
So you've been around for a year, and you're saying by your 2-year anniversary, more or less, you hope to be there.
Around 500 barrels full of beer. So
wow, that's impressive for a
you got to
brewer.
do it though. I mean, if we want to sell beer to all the places we're selling beer and everyone get enough to actually get some, we've got to brew more. And you know, we do that carefully and try not to just go too crazy with it, but when everything's aged in oak, it starts to add up.
Yeah. We got a couple more.
Are you going to have anything at Foment this year? Any of your barrel aged stuff?
Anything at Festival of Barrel Aged Beers?
I'll probably be at Festival of Barrel Aged Beers. When is it? Is it in November?
Yeah, I think November.
I may not be there. No, we don't really have anything that's ready. Oaky would probably be a cool one, but we drank it all, so probably next year. I don't know. It wasn't really on our radar early enough. I mean, some of these beers, you know, we want to age in oak for 8 months, 10, you know, a year, and so when you've only been open a year and didn't have that as an initial plan, it's hard to really do that. And so I'll probably be there just to drink them. But
how important are festivals, or is being in fests to you?
It's not.
Okay.
I like to do festivals when it's maybe a town that I just want to go like visit.
Right.
So
selfish reasons, write it off.
Yeah, that's kind of it. We love experiencing the world through this beer. So going up to Maine, we're pouring in a festival in Rome in a couple months.
That's
so
awesome.
The idea for festivals is more selfishly fun for us than getting people to try our products. So, but we love it. We love sharing it. Don't get me wrong, but you know, you got a festival in Hawaii or something coming up, I probably would be interested in going. So
there you guys go. We'll take one more.
Why did you use a New Zealand hop for a beer called America?
Why did you use New Zealand hops in America?
Because there's not a single American ingredient in that beer, and so to not get too political or what have you, all the malt in it is European. The bottles came from Europe, so the joke is that a lot of American stuff isn't exactly American, I suppose. So
American water, right?
Yeah, there's American water in it, but that's really about it. So it's kind of a joke on that idea, I suppose.
That's cool.
And no one had done it yet. I know the America thing really can rub some people the wrong way, but we did it. We kind of did it first as far as on a beer, and so we're gonna do it as long as we can, I suppose. I like that beer. So
I love, and the label. I mean, the labels have to move some beer because they're just amazing, and the America one is awesome.
Well, it's just kind of a funny transition for my brother artistically to go from this being his very first label to then these crazy collages of American Beauty. You know, for him, that's equally as fun as I want to try to make these cool beers, and he's just making really killer ideas on the labels that it makes it just really exciting to just kind of wait and see what he's got going next.
Awesome. Well, and then anything else that we should be looking out for in the future that you're excited about, other than the general expansion?
We've got some different sour ales aged on fruit right now that we'll hopefully be releasing maybe end of September into October. So apricot will be the first one for sure. And we got a cherry one in the works as well. So
cool.
In this bottle format, sour fruit beer. So we got those first 2 labels already approved, and once we find time to really get to it, we will. Standard is a beer we kind of stopped really working on for a while, but now we're...
Shame, I love that 6er.
We're going to roll it back in. It's coming into the markets now as a 4-pack. So, again, we don't want to make people feel like we're just like charging the daylights out of them to drink our beer. So we're trying to come up with ways to get it on the shelf in places like Chicago or California at a price that won't turn people away.
Yeah.
I guess, you know.
I think so far you've done a pretty good job of that.
Some of the stuff we're doing, I think, is worthy of what we're asking. It takes a lot of time, you know, and a lot of effort to get these beers made, but I feel like I know where I want them to sit, and So getting there is kind of important to me.
Awesome. Well, we're going to open up all these beers in a moment and let everyone kind of try them all. I want to say thank you for coming and thanks for explaining it. It was really interesting to me, and I think you're making great beer. There is one more thing though.
Okay.
There is a video floating out there of you opening up, sabering a beer open with actually one of these things. Base is what it was.
It was.
I think.
It was the key.
And I asked if you would teach me how to saber a beer. I've never done it in my life ever, so if you show me how to do it, teach me, then I'll try it. I've acquired, from what I'm being told, is an incredibly sharp knife, which doesn't matter apparently.
It doesn't.
So just be careful though.
I will, all right. So we've got like the two probably best beers to do it with would probably
we can get up and go somewhere.
Probably be the spelt beer and this saison. So let's take those.
All right.
And I'll go over it, and everyone can learn how to use a object to crack the top off their bottle.
All right. So meat shield. I'm right here.
So the key to sabering is that you'll notice the seam in the bottle. And that's where the bottle is seamed together.
Okay.
Right there at the neck. Right there at the neck of the bottle where the seam is the weakest spot in the bottle. So that's where it's going to break the quickest. So it's important that that's where you strike it.
So you don't need to take this off. Well, obviously if you do.
It's easier, but these are probably carbonated enough that the corks would come off. So we'll just try it with the cage. I'm not going to lie, it may not happen first try. That's embarrassing. But if you strike right there at that weakest point, you should be able to get to crack right around the lip there and blast outward. That's why it's typically okay to then serve from it, because it's an outward explosion, so nothing's gonna fall in the bottle.
My wife is convinced everyone who sips out of this beer will drop dead,
glass
and I will
in
be in jail.
It's not true.
But if I do, I'm taking you
It's
with me.
impossible. So
I'm too pretty for the inside.
You don't need a sharp knife. You just need a nice hard flat edge, and that's why using the back of the blade is probably the best. Yeah, we'll want glasses ready.
Step out into the sun, you think?
But it's important just to
Step into the light.
All right.
There you are.
It's important to evenly strike and just push through it. So you're not trying to hit it. You're more just slicing up and through it. So it's just a straight push through the bottle to do it. So you find that seam, lay the knife on, and see if you don't do it. It's embarrassing.
I'm not embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed. Yeah, we'll edit that. So basically what you like to do is find the seam here, and once you do, that's where you're trying to, strike the bottle. This is such a great idea when we talked about it. 12 times the charm, huh? All right, here we go.
I thought you were just going to rip it out. There you go.
It typically goes on the first try. Did you want to give it a shot?
I want to give it a shot.
All right.
Ooh, this is nice.
And yeah, don't point it towards the crowd.
Like that?
Hold the knife flatter to the bottle.
Like that?
Yeah, yes.
Like that?
Uh-huh.
All right, so I can go like that.
Point the bottle upward a little more, too.
Like this?
That's the BMW.
And think about pushing through it.
All right. So it's like the Bruce Lee 3-inch punch type thing.
Yes.
Punch through him.
Punch
Got
through
it.
yeah.
Okay.
But don't cut your hand with the back.
Right. Don't do it so much. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Well, that was
All right,
embarrassing
guys.
for me.
Well, let's say thank you, everybody, and let's all go drink some beer. We've all got some great beer to drink, so let's go do it.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Yeah.